guys? Ash here, Raid Shadow Legends. I am not alone. I'm joined by Nub Raids. Nub, it has been a hot minute, brother. What's up? How you doing?
It's good. Yeah, I'm good. It's been a quiet week in Raid. Nothing new cropping up. No game changing, new
No.
systems. So yeah, it's chill. Yeah.
Nah, they didn't decide to drop like a million complicated things on us with like 1 hour or less than that notice. How are you feeling about everything today? In today's video, by the way, we're going to share some, I don't want to say budget. I don't know what the word is, but like some fairly popular, maybe past fusions, maybe freebies, maybe whatever champions for the new clan boss for Chimera. So you are the perfect guy to get on because you are a clan boss pro. I remember actually going back a couple years now. That's how I discovered, quote unquote, your channel, man, is you were cutting edge Hydra. So I know you were going to be the man to get on for the next clan boss as well. First off, we have a crappy promo code for everybody. It's Xmas24. Xmas24. I couldn't even do a full standalone video on this one, Nubs. It's like one energy refill, guys. Don't spend it all in one place.
Yeah. Clarium super generous this Christmas.
Very generous.
Woo, woo.
I'm sure if you make sure you log on like Christmas and New Year's Day though, because they usually do give like decent gifts on the actual day. But the promo codes, yeah, definitely leave a lot to be desired. Anyway, we have this festive background here. Before we jump into Chimera, let's talk a little bit about like everything else. Like what stands out at you? Like what is your general assessment of all of this new stuff, man?
Well, I mean, there's actually two really good champion buffs this time around. I just did a video earlier on Gamaran. He's actually really fun now. He's pretty cool. Operden, we probably will mention him. He looks to be bonkers for the new Chimera. And he's a next fusion, so he just massive value surge. And I don't really know what to think about this new relic system. I love the customization and everything, but gosh, like the power creep is all over the place. So I don't know. My goal is just not take it too seriously. I'm just going to have some fun. I'm sure that some of it's going to be ridiculously crazy and super broken, and who knows what's going to happen. But hey, I'm just going to enjoy the chaos a bit. I don't mind a bit of chaos. So
yeah, man. I love that attitude, dude. Like, to me, it seems cool adding all this stuff. I mean, obviously, a cynic would say, and they'd be right, being like, oh, a new way to power creep and a new way to get money out of players. Like, that you could really say that about every new content in the game for the most part. This definitely not being an exception to that rule. At the same time, I find it like, I'm just going to be real with you, man. Not confusing. It's just an overload of like, I get the basics of how it works. But like, there's so many that I'm just like, kind of like you. I'm like, all right, I'll just figure it out as I go and like not like stress over understanding every little relic, in charm.
Yeah. Oh, actually, one tip for people watching, because when you load the game up today, it happened for me, you get like a tutorial now on like the relics. You don't have to equip that first relic, and be careful about who you put it on as well, because it costs limited currency to take it off. So for me, I haven't put it on anyone.
Same.
Mine's just sat there. That's probably the better thing to do. Just like wait, 'cause I don't know how often you'll get relics, how expensive it is to take them off. It's not that big of a boost. You might be better off waiting. So be warned, everybody. Be careful.
I think that's a great call out. We have the relic crafting area in the forge as well, which we don't have anything to do with. But yeah, I mean, I was looking at the relic index and stuff like that. And again, it's cool to look through them, obviously, and kind of figure out what they all do and the new buffs and everything like that. But it's also so much info that it's just like, dude, don't stress it. It's the holiday season. Let's just enjoy and see what we can figure out here. But moving on to the Chimera Clan Boss, what do you think of, now that it's not in game, so I can't actually share it yet, but what do you think of the whole system, the whole trial system and stuff like that?
I actually really like it. I think it's really interesting. So basically, like, doing just damage will get you the chests at the end. But then by doing these trials in the fight, and the trials are really diverse. You need so many different buffs and debuffs and types of champions. Like you're not going to be able to do them all. So then it becomes, I think the metagame, it's good for the metagame. It's like, okay, you can do it as a basic level. Ignore the trials, and doing the trials makes the boss harder. Ignore them and just go for your chests and just do damage, and it's quite simple. Or then going further, it's going to be, okay, how can I still get my one key chests, but then as well get as many trials done as possible? And that's going to bring in like a huge variation in terms of the champions. It's like, I mean, right now, one of the champions, you're probably just going to use Lydia. It seems like in every team, right?
Does. Yeah.
But maybe it's, oh no, actually I want to mix it up so I can hit up a bunch of these trials instead, which is interesting. It definitely will push it as well. What sorts of champions have lots and lots of buffs and debuffs, mythicals, right? So it definitely pushes you towards the legendaries and mythicals and anything else in the future. And I'm sure it's also balanced around people having relics and stuff. But I actually really like the Chimera. It's actually quite fun to fight. It feels to me very much like Demon Lord Clan Boss, but like kind of updated for where the game is at now. Like the game's 5 years older than it was when Demon Lord was there. There's so much more stuff. Like if they just put Demon Lord in again, you're just like, okay, well, there's nothing here.
Super
it's just
basic.
a big target dummy.
Yeah.
So Chimera feels like Demon Lord. And there's a huge range in difficulty. I've seen people really concerned that this is only for late game players. There's a massive range. It's much broader than Hydra, much broader. Like easy is ridiculously easy. And like Ultra Nightmare is ridiculously hard. So, and the trials get easier as well when you go lower from what I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I want to milk you for all the info you've got from my loyal subscribers here. And we're going to do a video, by the way, on Nubs talking about Epic specifically too. So make sure you guys check that out. But I want to like day one Chimera guide, right? Like what would you advise my viewers focus on day one? Like because obviously there's a lot of info to your point. You can go for the trials. You can just go brute force. You can go low difficulty. Like what are the super basics? What should people do right now to not get like paralysis by analysis?
I mean, at a simple level, like you don't have to lock in your keys. So that's another thing. It's like Hydra where you can free regroup out at any time. Yep. And when you finish your key, you can then decide, I want to keep this, or no, I want to just free regroup out. So you can test the boss stress-free. If you use champions for one key, you can use them for your second key as well. Obviously, the smart thing to do this week when it's just play, just have some fun, trying it out, free regroup out, and don't actually commit to a team until like the end of the week. Because I mean, there's whatever 20 content area. I don't know how many are on the test server. And there's hundreds of thousands of people.
Teams will emerge.
Chimera.
Yeah. Good advice, man. Yeah, solid advice. So basically experiment with your own teams, lock it. Hey, if you're really happy with your results, go ahead and lock it in. If not, just keep experimenting and wait for other strategies to emerge if you want to, either in your clan, your little community, your group, or I'm sure there'll be a lot of, give it a week to Nubs' point. I'm sure there'll be a lot of like ultra effective teams out there that you guys can emulate. But let's get to the champions. You mentioned Lydia. Wanted to start with her. I think she's a pretty no-brainer. She's still 100%. One of the goats of all of Raid.
Yeah, I've tried. She's just so good for this boss. Like she's unbelievable. So decreased defense weaken. You definitely want that. I'm not 100% sure. There's a big question mark right now in terms of how damage actually works on this boss. It seems to work totally differently from everything before, where like I got lots of comments in my video, right? Because my Marius, you could see at times in that fight, he's hitting for 1 million damage per hit of his A2, yeah?
Yep.
But there's supposed to be a cap on enemy max HP, and it's much lower than 1 million. So people are going, what's going on? I think that there's actually a cap on damage for both normal damage dealers and enemy max HP. And then I think that the cap, you can exceed the cap with like debuffs, like decreased defense weaken, with like ignore defense.
Okay.
Like I'm not 100% sure. This is where we need the thing to go live and people to data mine it and figure out exactly what's going on.
That
but
makes
it's really
sense,
wonky.
Though. Yeah.
Lydia is brilliant though, because decreased defense weaken, you're going to see your damage go way up. And she also can put block buffs, block active skills, poison sensitivity on her A3. And block active skills is a game changer for the Viper form, which is super nasty. And it's also more debuffs. You put her in a feral set, and that's gonna just be. I think that's just an extra damage multiplier on like your damage caps. Like if you've got 4 debuffs with a feral set, you're just straight up gonna do 20% more damage.
And to your previous point,
higher.
If you're right about how it caps and then goes beyond, that's a really good call out there. I guess just to rewind a little bit before we move on from Lydia, I totally agree. On her like being just the quintessential go-to, right, on every team, which is nice. But what is, if you, maybe this is an unfair question this early on, but if you had to pick like 3 or 4 debuffs that are quintessential, kind of like how we look at block buffs and Hex or whatever in Hydra, what would they be in Provoke? What would they be for Chimera? Like, what do you?
Decrease speed is probably the most important. Like the boss has a limited number of turns. You decrease speed, you make everything so much easier. So decrease speed. block active skills is actually really nice for the Viper. I think it's not so. I've been trying some epic teams, and then they shut down the Chimera on the test server, so I can't test anymore. It's very annoying. But like, you don't need block active skills, but my goodness, for Ultra Nightmare, it makes Viper a lot easier. So that's definitely worth considering. Fear is really nice for the Ram form, just to get that over with as quickly as possible. And then I think you definitely want decreased speed. You definitely want decreased defense. I think you almost definitely want weaken. If I'm right about the damage scaling stuff, I think you definitely want that too. And decrease attack is pretty nice to help you survive as well. I'd say they're probably the most important ones, and you can bring in others. And like, there's lots of trials that are based around having other ones as well, like burns and poison sensitivity and all of that. But yeah, it's sort of the key stuff. Yeah, they're the keys.
Do you think that fear or true fear is do you look at it as mandatory? Like, you wouldn't go in without it?
So no. Like, I've run teams without it, and definitely for the lower difficulties, it's not. The funny thing about fear is that just half the time it doesn't work against the boss. Like, he does his move anyway. But when fear does work and it stops him doing a move, it gives him a ton of turn meter. So it sort of just accelerates you through the ram phase, which I found definitely for testing is nice, because the ram phase sucks. Your champions kill themselves from the reflect damage.
Okay. Yeah. So it's more of like a really great to have convenience wise, but not a mandatory. Because like a champion like Harvest Jack, I was really hoping to bust out, but
I don't think so.
He's got the decreased speed, and the true fear,
That's true.
But it really needs to be essential I feel like for a lot of these true fear champions to really make their place in like the top of the meta,
I think only one form is vulnerable to fear, so it makes it a bit of a hard sell for, like, I was hoping, will Fortis finally be relevant after his
some of these mass fearmonger finally get his day in the sun? No, it doesn't seem like it.
But I mean, you never know. But I'm not looking out for that day one for me.
All right, not to pick all your champions for you here, Nubs, but I did see yesterday you spotlit Skeletor. The champion that everybody was super underwhelmed with, myself included. I assume you too, but maybe not. Do you think the Skeletor is like actually good, or was it more of like, hey, we'll stick Skeletor in there because it's Skeletor?
No. He's actually good. Okay. I don't think he's going to be the best champion. Whatever in 2 weeks when we've got the top team, Skeletor's in there. I don't think so, but he's actually surprisingly solid. Like, I ran him. I used a Krisk as well to compare to. I used what's the lizard? The lizard with all the arms that turn meter boosts and stuff.
Nekmothar?
Nekmothar, that's the one. Yeah, I used Nekmothar as well, and I actually found Skeletor was kind of more consistent than both of them, weirdly.
I love it. So, we have a use for this dude.
He's just solid. Now, the interesting thing is that Adolin, the other login champion, who's also pretty underwhelming.
Pretty bad,
she also seems like she could be pretty good. And the reason is both of them bring a fairly rare combination of or an essential. That's probably a better way to put it. An essential combination of debuffs. Decrease speed, decrease attack. Right? They're both very comfortable debuffs to make the fight much easier. And they both bring them. Skeletor, I think, again, the problem with Skeletor, he needs a lot of books. But for people who are progressing and are going to struggle with accuracy requirements, I don't know if that will be a problem. But if it is, Skeletor also brings, the accuracy manipulation for that.
Very true.
He's not bad in a 9-piece. I didn't have a feral set for him. It would have been better with that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like 9-piece ferals, pretty good if you get that eventually. But yeah, no, he's solid.
I love that you found a use for this dude other than the Vault Guard, man. Good job.
Right,
Good job.
Yeah.
All right. Who do you have on you? We talked about a lot of the essentials here. Who else do you have on your list?
Essential. Well, the best team I've seen so far is actually by I think he's German. It's called Essie, and he did, I think, 250 million. I did 150 million. He did almost 100 million more than me. He ran a combination, and YST tested this as well because he loves Senna. He ran Senna with Operdin, I'm pretty sure, and it's bonkers.
Wow. So okay, with all those, continuous heal synergy and everything like that,
So I think it was like Senna, Operdin, Lydia, Marius, and Newt. We'll come to Marius and Newt in a second. They're insane. But Senna looks to be bonkers. If you're lucky enough to have her, she brings you Revive, which is great if you need it. But just increased speed, continuous heal, turn meter boosting, and then activating those continuous heals for even more turn meter. And you combine that with the new Operdin, who's bringing you block debuffs and loads of continuous heals and healing again on a low turn meter. low cooldown, they give you so much turn meter boosting. It's something that's different about this fight, right? In Hydra, you're limited by the number of total turns. In Chimera, you're only limited by the boss turns. So you can take as many turns as you want. So the more speed you've got, just the better.
That's a really, really good point, because
Yeah.
you always run into that with Hydra, right? Where you're like, hey, I'm doing, like, I am rocking and rolling, but then you're soaking up all of your turns. So that's a really, really good point, especially for endgame, you know? So do you think the opening Clan Father now, it sounds like even without Senna, you still think he's a beast?
Yeah, he's still a beast. I mean, he's giving you loads of healing, loads of turn meter. He's cleansing, gives you block debuffs. Protection set is going to be insane on him, 9-piece.
Perfect
Yeah,
buff.
I think he's actually well worth considering now for people.
All right, cool. Who's next on your list?
Let's touch on the damage. That's a question I've got a ton. So
should we just go right to Newt right away, or
sorry, what?
Should we just go right to Newt right away, or
no? I was actually going to a champion that for me did double the damage of my Newt almost, which is Marius.
Okay. So, I'm
Marius,
finally, dude, I've been slacking so hard, man, but I'm finally almost there. I'm on the last string. So golly, I can't wait to get my hands, because I'm so sick of him wrecking me in live arena, dude. I'm ready to wreck somebody else now, not to mention everywhere else in the game. But okay, talk about why Marius is so good.
So like you might be thinking, oh, Marius, he's got the AoE, right? His value is about AoE. Well, not actually. The reason he's so strong, he's got the triple hit enemy max HP. But it's on a shorter cooldown. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. And then because his A3 gives him an extra turn, and you're not losing anything for taking extra turns, because your turns are not a limit at all.
Yep.
Right? He actually just pumps out that A2 like way more often than Newt, which just pushes his damage like crazy. I was lucky enough that I've bought the Slayer set. Said, look, I bought the Slayer set. I don't know. I have the Slayer set, some pieces. I actually got good Skinwalker. Some of the factions I tried to build it in, I've got no accessories, but I've got a good Skinwalker set. And again, that can proc on Marius and just give you extra hits. It's just extra damage. So yeah, I found Marius for me was doing almost double the damage of Newt. Like, it's actually crazy how much damage this guy does. He's been by far the highest damage that I've seen from any champion so far. I did see some broken stuff. I wonder if like maybe the Skinwalker mythical chicken guy is maybe broken. I don't know. That was broken for Clan Boss. It might be broken for this, but I'm not sure actually. But I saw some crazy damage numbers, and I was like, I can't think of anything else it would be except the chicken.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
good note.
Marius is the most busted thing I've seen confirmed.
So Marius, best DPS, double the damage as a Newt so far in your testing.
Yeah. He's crazy. Newt is also obviously really good. Presuming it's the same rotation, right? There's rotations with the Chimera, different affinities. So I was on the Force one. So Newt was great. It was really good. And Newt brings you as well. His utility is actually great there. The decrease attack, weaken. It's actually really useful.
For sure.
And his counter attack's great too. Newt's great. Really, really strong. Enemy max HP damage. Easy enough to build him as well. He smashes.
Yeah, build-wise, are you still looking to build your DPS similar to a Hydra? Do you see like Merciless as one of the go-tos for most nukers, or are you building them with any different considerations?
So again, I think that the ignore defense actually increases your enemy max HP cap. So you will just do more damage just because you've got ignore defense, I think. So I switched my Newt. My Newt is normally an affinity breaker, actually, because I use him for Phantom Shogun and Iron Twins. But I switched him from affinity breaker into just lethal, and his damage went up. So, I think you're going to want probably Merciless will be the best. Yeah. I think. It's just the ignore
defense. Yeah. It sounds about right. Keep hoarding that Merciless gear. Keep muling around. All right. Who else you got for us, huh?
Another couple of champs I've seen really good success with would be Ninja or Harima. In combination with Lady Mikage. They're very good, and they are, certainly Ninja Mikage is going to be a very strong option that hopefully most people watching will have picked up Ninja for free.
Hopefully.
And are either have Mikage or they're working towards it. That's looking to be a really strong combo. Now, I struggled a bit with Ninja on the test server because it's the Force Affinity rotation. So half of the time in the fight, he's the wrong affinity. But I think for all the other affinities, he's going to be a beast with Mikage. He should do tons of damage. Help you, again, complete a bunch of the trials with Perfect Veil and Burn and stuff like that. And brings decreased defense. So he seems strong.
Apologies. I'm so excited. I want to get all the knowledge out of your brain. I'm cutting you off. I apologize, man. On the
Okay.
ninja escalation, similar to a Varl the Destroyer or Toshiro the Bloodied,
Yeah,
these escalating stat champions, I presume they're going to be just as effective as they are in Hydra because of the length of the battle.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, again, there's trials where you have to use ally attacks. Mikage brings that. Mikage can sort of help cleanse. And one really nice thing, Mikage extending buffs can extend block debuffs, and that can be great with protection set to protect you from a lot of these forms and things like that. So yeah, I think that, again, that's a very accessible again, you need to be playing for a few months for sure to get them. But if you have been, that's a very common combo. So yeah, those together are going to be very strong. And like, Lydia, did I mention Mithrala? I think Mithrala might end up being really nice too. Again, in 9-piece protection.
Yeah. I think it was your probably comment on, because that was going to be my next question to you actually, is it seems to me like 9-piece protection is more valuable than ever. Like it's just one of the best. It was already amazing and becoming more and more in vogue. But now having the protected block debuffs, protected buffs in general is so valuable. And other than what Altreon, whatever the hell his name is, no one actually has it.
Big Monster Hunter Al.
Yeah, Big Monster Hunter Al. No other champion has that. So getting that, I imagine Al is like going to be the absolute like stud if anybody has him, right?
Yeah, he's pretty good. I tried him a bit, and he's pretty good. The one thing you have to watch out for, you pretty much still want the buff extender just to be safe, but it's not just his protected block debuffs. The protected shield is really strong as well to keep you alive. That really helps against a few of the forms, because they can, I'll tell you, some of these forms can smack. And one of the big problems I ran into, the Viper form, it's going to be the last form that you see in the fight, right? It's super nasty. The first thing it does on round 1, and there's nothing you can do to stop it, it just comes in and it steals all your buffs, right? And the reality is, protected set, even 9 pieces, is only 75% chance. So there's a pretty good chance that it's stealing block debuffs off somebody or whatever, anything, increased speed. Like there's a good chance it steals that stuff. And that can be a real pain because that form can then just blow you up and kill you. Like, especially for your reviver, I was running Elva. If he steals block debuffs off Elva and her moves on cooldown, like you can just kill her and she'll be dead. Or like I was trying Krisk and Krisk ally protection. If that boss steals one ally protection, Krisk is gonna get one shot by Marius, like in one hit. It's not even a question. And then your Krisk is dead and you can't revive him because that form blocks revives.
So when you're trying to build a team, are you trying to factor in maybe 1 or 2, obviously end game, but 1 or 2 9-piece protections, as many as you can get, I assume. And then on top of that, like making sure that you have a cleanser in addition, at least one. Is that kind of
Yeah, generally, yes. Yeah. So I was using Elva. The nice thing about Elva is 9-piece protection. Not really great for Arena, but it's really good for Hydra and stuff like that. So Elva is that sort of perfect champion where she's super good against dungeons and Arena and stuff. Not Arena, excuse me, dungeons and Chimera and things like that. So I was like, oh, I can put her in 9-piece protection and that's fine. And then I can like have my Sifi or whatever. I don't need to have her in 9-piece protection. I can build her with like more speed and more just better gear sets to complement her. I have her in 6-piece. Yeah, I think 9-piece protection, 9-piece feral when you get some from Siege is going to be bonkers on a lot of champs as well. Merciless is probably going to be the best damage set. Maybe Slayer for Marius. I think those 9-piece sets are really going to push you to the next level for this boss. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
All right. Sounds great, man. Any final shout outs to champions that you love, or do you want to save the epic? Well, obviously we're saving the epics for your video in a moment here.
Sure.
Any finals though?
Yeah, a couple of them. Sure. So one to Tora Rhymehyde, old Christmas.
Okay.
He's a great one.
Old Christmas. Yeah.
So again, you think about him, 9-piece protection. He's got increased defense and block debuffs on a short cooldown. He also has he reflects damage with his passive, and he puts out Perfect Veil and a bit of a shield on himself. He might be pretty good for helping with some trials. And we haven't talked about decreased accuracy, increased resistance, but they're very strong against a lot of these forms as well. So he's one to definitely look into. He could be pretty cool. And maybe he's a bit of a sleeper pick for Hydra as well.
Love that.
And then another one who I think a lot of people are really upset about is Shayak as well, Packmaster Shayak. I think people are
okay.
Yeah, people are quite upset after they nerf Taunt in Hydra and feel he's useless, but he's actually quite good too. Like his passive, you just do 20% more damage if he has a Hex on the target, right? which is crazy. I thought it was just like ally attack, like Mikage. I think it's just everything. you know, it's
That's
just
a good,
more
it's a good call out there. Yeah.
And he's got that decreased defense A1. He's got the buff strip block buffs, which is somewhat useful. So I don't know how good he is gonna be, but he's one definitely to keep an eye on. He could be an interesting budget option for people that built him up for a Hydra team, and now he's sort of. I mean, I think
I skipped that fusion. Damn it, Nubs! I skipped it.
Right. Well, I mean, and listen, if they ever do that dog, right? They tease the legendary dog or something.
I know, right? False advertising, yeah.
That could happen. I mean, there could be this crazy dog who's insane for Chimera,
that
and then we could see Shayak actually be really strong. So mine's he's chilling for me in the vault. He's waiting, but he's licking his lips.
He's ready. Awesome.
Got the dog treats there. He's ready to go.
You know who? I love too. She's not really budget friendly, but Gwendolyn, the Silent, and Feral.
Oh, yeah. Great. Yeah. Sorry, I should have called her out.
No,
yeah.
she has the decreased accuracy, the decreased speed, the leech, the 9-piece Feral. If you can pull it off, I mean, it's insane. Plus on the A3, the increased accuracy, the block debuff or stealing block debuffs. She's a pretty cool champ. I think she's one of my faves.
Yeah, she's a really good one. You just might. The one thing to watch out for depends on your team comp. Like this boss can hit pretty. I don't know. It's weird. He hits hard in the forms where he strips your buffs if protecting goes wrong.
Okay.
So you might need to build her a little bit tanky. I mean, it depends what you've got though, right?
Yeah,
it depends on your team. But full damage on her, which is a thing you can do because she's attack based, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she might be too squishy. That was something I liked about Marius and Newt and like Acrizia as well. Be very good.
Yeah.
Because they're tanky as well as the big damage. So yeah, that's something to watch. People watch out. Like my ninja literally just one-shot himself every time against the ram form. He's just dead. He's just gone. I'm like,
that's
all
why
right,
revive are crucial.
Yeah. He's just dead.
All right, man. And any else?
No, that's it.
All right.
That's it.
All right.
That's what I found so far.
Yes.
We'll see.
Well, I love it.
Like I said, even one clan of viewers has more people in it than I think there are content creators on the test server. So like when this thing goes live, probably tomorrow, I guess, we're just going to see the floodgates open. We're going to see so many strategies. I'm excited to see what people come up with, but that's what I've noticed so far anyway.
Well, I'm looking forward to it as well, man. And I'd love to have you back on after the Clan Boss is live. That way we can talk a little bit, maybe in a few weeks, and kind of look back at some of these champions to see if they're performing as well as we thought, or if there's others kind of like surprise champions that have come in and made a name for themselves in the game. But hey, the conversation doesn't end here, guys. Check out Nub's YouTube channel. We'll have the Epics video posted there, as well as I'm sure tons and tons of Chimera strategy over the coming weeks. Nubs, thanks again for coming on, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. Anytime. And yeah, hopefully everyone has some fun with Chimera and gets good luck with those relics.
I gotta ask. It is holiday season inside the game. We have the whole background and stuff. What is your favorite holiday movie, man? What's your favorite Christmas movie or whatever?
Putting
you on the spot, man.
I do like a good old Lord of the Rings marathon over Christmas. I don't know if it's a Christmas movie per se, but that's a Christmas class. That's one of the only things my father-in-law enjoys. So
there you go, man. I'm actually watching through with my son for the very first time right now, so we're really enjoying the Lord of the Rings marathon. Where the second movie, I forgot the order or whatever, but yeah, that's cool, man. I go Die Hard. You like Die Hard at all, or no?
That's a good one. I almost picked that, and then I was like,
I know it's so quintessential. I told my girlfriend, she's like, typical guy answer. I'm like, no, but it really is Christmas. I mean, it's a Christmas party, and
it's a movie, and it's a good movie.
It's a good movie, and I lied, even though all the viewers tuned out when I half ended the video. But I haven't had you on since.
Yeah.
But you/me/YST, we had a collab where we called He-Man being added to the game. How about that?
Oh yeah,
wasn't that funny?
Did we vote him number 1?
No, I think he was number 2. I think because Link was number 1, I believe.
Right.
We basically had a collab. I don't know, a year ago, talking about IPs that we love to see in Raid, and He-Man was like a top finisher, but not number 1. So hey, who knows? We had Barney the dinosaur, bro, on the list. I wonder who they add next. But anyway, with that all said, I digress. We'll end it there. Thanks for watching, and as always, take care, guys.